Please stop laughing, Srishti.
It's the girls'
No, no,
hostel
I'm not
ladies, and I've
laughing.
got to say this, girls' hostel ladies, and I mean all of you, Parul, Ahsaas, Srishti, your fash is just unbelievable. How cool is this? Looking absolutely lovely and resplendent, and I'm
Thank
sure
you very much.
I'm sure you feel that way too. I hope your families and you and all are safe and healthy. Yeah, I mean during a pandemic, that's what we've got to ask each other. Shrishti, all good? Yeah.
बीच में कुछ सीन हो गया था, but things are fine now.
Parul, all well? Yeah.
हाँ, मुझे कोविड होके चला गया. Thank you for asking, Rishi. I hope you are okay too.
Yeah, we're fine. This, luckily, fingers crossed. Ahsaas, all
Yeah.
Yeah,
good? Yeah.
all good, all good.
I want to start with you, Shrishti. I mean, this pretty much should be a dream role for any actress. You get to kick some butt.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get the good in the bad and the bad in the good, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and because I've not seen season one,
Mm.
was she
Oh,
always like this, Joe, or did she evolve to become this at some point in her life?
I no, she evolved. I think in the second season because she's grown older. Also, she has evolved a lot more. She Joe as a character in the first season, of course, she had traces of what is there in the second season, but she was distant from everyone, and as you call it, a lone wolf. She was very comfortable in her own space.
Yeah.
But here in the second season, she's put in a spot, and she has to make a choice, and on top of that she's impulsive, and there are so many other things at stake. So she has evolved, and it was a very interesting part for me to work on, for sure.
And my definitive scene is when she takes the hockey stick and beats
Oh
the
man.
out of
Yeah.
everybody. Was that a one take?
Yeah.
Was that a one take?
I mean, he got it, but we did two or three for bloody angles. But I remember after I shot that, and I was telling this to other people also. We did this scene. I remember hitting him, whatever, and I walked out and I started crying. I broke down because I have never physically hit someone so much. So my body experienced that for the first time, and it was so overwhelming. So it was really something. It was so much fun. You're on mute, Rishi. And
Essas is
me.
such a finely written part. I mean, when I look at your character, I see writing in some wonderful ways. We've all been in that situation where we are hitting on a person, whether it's a guy or a girl, and then
Mm.
somebody else comes in, becomes the kebab mein haddi. And we've also been through phases in our life when we've had enough conversation, we just want to get the action, but it doesn't happen. So I want you to tell me about the writing of it. When the script first came to you, you must have really enjoyed reading this character and the others.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think also I would like to add that Richa's character is very, very similar to how I am in life. Like I think Ehsas and Richa are quite similar. Like their personalities really match. I'm more on the bubblier side. I'm more on the crazier side, but I think Richa and I think quite similarly. And this character is basically how Shreyasi thinks, the writer of the show. So like she and I have sat down and we've spoken about this, and she has told me that she's also been to a girls' hostel, so she's lived her most of her years there, so she knows. So when I mean, she told me that this is something that I have gone through. So I feel like I'm also telling a little bit of Shrey because I'm also narrating the show, right? And uh, you get like a peek into what's going on in my head. So I really enjoyed this. Definitely this character is very close to my heart. And when I read the season 2 ka script, I was just very um like the first time I read it, I was just very overwhelmed because there's so much happening compared to season 1. So I was like very excited, and this season is definitely more intense, and a lot is happening this season, So I was very happy.
Parul, I'm just curious to know, are you really like this? Because I know some people like Zaira Ali, like the people who've been to public school who speak very good English. People who've been to Doon and Wellams, and Arunodaya Singh is a classic example. He's an actor. Their alphas, the way they speak and things like that, and they've got a slight public school chip on their shoulder, and you've played it so beautifully. So I'm going to ask you, though it's a cliched question, do you find pieces of yourself in the character or not?
Well, I'm not very well educated, first of all, and she's a topper who's smart and dresses up for herself
Oh,
type.
sweet.
Like she's
That's an
treated
honest
like a
confession.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I barely finished college, school. I mean, I started acting early, so. But I'm not very well educated like how Zahra is, and she's very well spoken uh, in bits and pieces. But what I find in her, which is similar to me, is that I think it's a very superficial level of not the way she thinks, the way she is, that I lack. Because to the ability to take a stand against something. I mean, I can think and then I can evaluate मेरे लिए क्या काम कर रहा है, but as Zahira, she just goes at it without thinking कि मुझे ये चाहिए, so I'll make it work. बट हाँ, उसका खुद भी थोड़ा वो है कि उसे शैम्पू उसको बाल शैम्पू करने को नहीं मिल रहे तो वो दुखी है, उसको अपने लिए जगह नहीं मिल रही तो वो दुखी है, रूम में फोमो है, वगैरह वगैरह. फोमो इज द कैरेक्टर who
Yeah.
we call Momo, or her name is Momo, we call her Fomo, something like that.
That's another very interesting character. One thing that, Girls Hostel did for me is really open my eyes in a lot of ways. Sometimes maybe it's a little late. When you've been part of a boys' hostel, especially if you're on a campus which has lots of colleges, whether it's the Mumbai University campus or the Delhi University campus, boys will always gravitate to just hang outside a girls' hostel. And you don't know the psychological or the emotional impact that you're having on those girls. Even if you're just harmlessly hanging out there, just the fact that you're checking somebody out without their permission and this and that. And suddenly I thought back to my college days and said, dude, did I ever do that? Because, I wasn't the sort who would go beyond just looking, but even looking without permission is just and that must appeal to you, Srishti. I mean, I've seen you on stage, I've seen you perform really meaningful stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, this is entertainment. It's supposed to entertain people. But I love entertainment packages which have an underlying social message in a very, very subtle manner. And Girls Hostel does that, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. When you were talking about this, I am from a girls' college. I've not lived in a hostel. Just for a week, I was there. But in a girls' college, I remember when we used to walk out the back gate, there used to be men from different colleges from all over the city hanging out just behind, outside our college. So we used to avoid going from that way because we knew I don't know, they're looking, not looking, whatever they were doing. But it was just so uncomfortable for us to take that road. So we would go the longer way and go home, whatever. So I think even when Shreyasi was writing this, she said, this is angst that I have since I was a bloody child.
Wow.
And she says, I have always wanted to write something like this. I've always wanted to pour my heart out into something like this. And she did. And in such a beautiful way. It's not fully out there. It's not fully hidden. It's somewhere in the middle with many, many layers. And yeah, and I feel, of course, like I was telling you, I've never hit a man like that. But I've had instances where I've run behind a man. This was at a station where he was looking right inside my shirt. I ran after him and he disappeared. So I did everything I could in this show to fulfill that anger, that the amount it's happened to all of us. Like if we sit, right, I remember we were all in our van together, Parul, me, Ahsaas, and we were talking about this because it was a conversation after one of the scenes we shot. And everyone has easily 10 stories to tell. All of us. Easy. Like right now I can sit and write a book on the number of times it's happened to me or Parul or Ahsaas. So it all came out through this show, and I'm glad we're putting it out there so people know that this happens and what it does to every woman,
And Ahsaas, I started watching it thinking, it's a chick flick kind of show, but it seems interesting. And then it just grew on me. It just took over. And there's a lot in it for men. In particular, Gagan's character, the guy that, you're dating, semi-dating, seeing, and he talks about no being no for both men and women. Have you had that reaction? Have you had guys walk up to you after seeing season 1, now seeing the trailers, the promos and everything, saying, man, I relate to this show. Is that happening with you, Ahsaas? From the boys' perspective, the girls will all love it, I know.
So I think the first season wasn't as much through the boys' perspective.
Okay.
Gagan's character and his journey is being explored this time a lot more than season one. So it has not happened to me yet, but there are definitely my guy friends who are very excited. They've seen the show and they've liked it. Like you said, that they always thought that it's a chick flicks बोलते हैं? हाँ, chick flicks, and it's just तो mute पे है, but समझ गए. So yeah, so I mean, like, it's also when you hear girls hostel, you always think of that, girls are just girls are just having fun. It's all pink and it's all fun and it's just about makeup, glamorous clothes, this, that. But this show is, it's telling such real stories about women. It is so authentic, and I think that's definitely very new to men. And I have guy friends who've come and told me that they've not said that it's relatable or anything, but they've said, I mean, I hope they say now after
Yeah,
watching
now when they
series.
see this, I see a lot of guys
Yeah.
walking up to you girls and saying that,
Yeah.
because it's in a lot of ways there's a lot to relate to. Almost questioning yourself sometimes, or looking at stuff like that. So, Parul, it's obvious with so many girls on set, the estrogen quotient must have been really high. But and obviously you got to bond over a show. Yeah, I mean, how many, even if you shoot for 16, 20, 25 days and things like that, were you always together, all of you, or did you form individual groups? I'll tell you how guys function. I mean, even if we
Please tell us.
even if we're 10 of us, we might do the 10-person hang together, but then we'll immediately then go and form our own groups of 3 or groups of 2 or groups of 4. Did that happen with you guys, or were you always together?
I think it was surprisingly, but I don't know why you asked me this question out of everyone. But yeah, I feel all of us. No, I felt that everyone, you asked nicer ones to me. You asked that how if we all were together or not. No, we all were surprisingly together. As we said, हम एक van ले लेते थे, and we would open the doors, and we all 3 will sit together and call everyone. And एहसास मैम तो एक बार हमारे लिए तिरामिसू केक भी बना के लाई थी. So we did have those days, and I think season 1 से on the first reading table read पे first season में we had our judgments. मैंने सोच लिया था अरे सृष्टि बहुत अच्छी एक्टर है, उसके साथ सीन करेंगे, मुझे उसे इम्प्रेस करना है. एहसास में लगा था बच्ची है, एहसास को लगा था आई कांट रिलेट विद हर. आई थिंक हमने फर्स्ट डे अपनी क्लियर कर ली थी फर्स्ट मीटिंग में ही, एंड देन वी ऑल वर सिटिंग टुगेदर ऑन द फर्स्ट डे, फर्स्ट सीन. वी ऑल स्टार्ट गेटिंग रेडी सरप्राइजिंगली इन वन रूम. आई डोंट नो इफ यू गर्ल्स रिमेंबर. We all were getting ready together first day because there was so much chaos. From there on, we broke the ice, and we've been together since. We never had that group thing. Maybe only with Shreya we did not, who plays Ramya, because she was coming and going.
Sure.
But rest everyone, I think we hung together, be it Twitter or Palak or anyone.
See, you asked me why I asked you that question. I had a gut
Yeah.
feeling that you'd answer it beautifully.
Oh my God.
You gave me all the goss.
You're
So-
perfect for this job, Hrishi.
I try, Parul. I try very hard. Srishti, there's some amazing, senior character actors. I mean, I shouldn't be saying character actors at all. Actors are actors, whether they play characters or heroes or heroines. But Jayati, she's just superb.
Yeah.
Trupti Khamkar, just doing scenes with these people, Srishti, must have elevated your performance. When you deal with actors of that caliber.
Yeah. Because when we were shooting with Jayanti ma'am, I met her for the first time. We're all nervous, the kind of things that young actors do. All these things. So I'm doing all of that. La, 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 la. And she's there, sitting in her chair. Okay. उन्होंने अपनी lines कर ली हैं. Okay, ready? And she just goes for it. She goes for it, and she knows, it comes with experience what you do, and it's in her body, it's in her skin what she's doing. She knows every inch of what that character will do, and it's the ease that I always look for. And of course, when you're performing with those actors in the scene, you get and you give, and it becomes what it becomes. Especially with Trupti, because Trupti is magical. वो आएगी स्क्रिप्ट लेके, ऐसा करते हैं, ये करते हैं, वो करते हैं, and वो तो कब से कर रही है, वो तो नाटक कब से कर रही है, वो कितने उसने शोज किए हुए हैं, लेकिन उसके अंदर की जो एक्साइटमेंट है टू क्रिएट अ कैरेक्टर, इट्स सो इंस्पायरिंग. ये करते हैं, चल, हाँ, जो 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 चल, यो, एंड you're always like, oh yeah, cool. अगर थोड़ा भी थके हो, she will pull you up and you have to perform. And these, I mean, everyone on the set actually, all, even the younger actors, and like Parul said कि पहले दिन हमने सबने जजमेंट बनाई थी. मुझे तो पारुल समझ ही नहीं आया था पहले दिन में मिली, मैं क्या बात करूंगी इससे. And turns out she is bloody amazing. And so when we worked together as actors, everyone was very on it, on this set. We really wanted to make the second season bigger than the first season, so all of us worked very hard. We would discuss one second, sorry. Yeah,
You
I'm
would
back.
discuss.
We discuss the scenes and perform. So as an actor, I got a lot.
Ahsaas, we spoke briefly about Shriyasi, the writing team, the creative team, but I want to know about your director, you guys. So just a little bit about your director.
Chaitanya, we call him Chatty. So for me, he's been my friend before we started shooting for Girls' Hostel.
Cool.
I've worked with him quite a lot. And when I first got a call for Girls' Hostel, I was told that Chatty is directing it, and I immediately said yes. I didn't know what the show's about. I didn't know what's happening in the show. I'm like, Chatty kar raha hai, to theek hai, kar lete hain phir. Because Chatty is such a beautiful person. And then again, he's a brilliant director because I think 80% of the show is Chatty. Like even the season 1 and season 2, it's just him. He brings out so much, on the table, and more than what's on paper. And just working with him feels like a vacation, to be very honest, because he has so much on his plate. He's so stressed out. We all know that he has so much pressure on him. He has to shoot 18 pages a day, but he does it with such finesse. He always has a smile on his face. He's never irritated. He's like, he just makes it so much easier for you. Like when we are on set, it never feels like he just gives us that time, that space, and the freedom to do whatever we want. And I think that's literally a blessing. So I mean, I love working with him. I adore that man. So yeah, मैं तो बोलती जाऊंगी, बस हो गया.
Parul, I know it's not really important for actors to live the experience. You know, it's not always about the method acting and things like that. And it's enough for the creator to have lived in a hostel. But I know it's a cliched question, but there's certain things in hostel life, like the water going away at the loo, the boys fantasizing that there are lesbian relationships and things like that, which only hostelers would know. Have you ever lived in a hostel? Ever?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Any of you have? Ahsaas, have you lived in one? Yeah. So you were basic. That means you guys are fine actors.
No, I lived in one for a week, so I have a glimpse of it, but not fully.
Yeah. No, but then even in that week, you must have realized that it's an entire world out there.
It really is.
And I have to say that Girls Hostel does a phenomenal job of capturing that particular world. So it's a TVF show. Srishti, just any other memorable stuff that you've done? You've collaborated with them. What is it that this unique team brings to the table that they've managed to maintain a series of hits, of successful programming shows year after year?
I feel the most important thing about TVF, and I actually have associated more with Gulati, which is a channel of TVF. And when we started Gulati, I did the very first video with them, which was Why Should Hot Girls Have All the Fun? This was with Malika Dua. And it was the most exciting thing about it was a very well written script by Shruti Madan. Our director was Sharmishtha Nag. We had a woman DOP, and everyone on set was a woman. And this was the first time, and I was very young at that point. So मुझे लगा ये कौन सी दुनिया है? So it was beautiful when we started Gulati. Of course, now it's grown bigger and it's involved more people. The most important thing that works for TVF and Gulati is how important writing is for them, how important discussion is. So at TVF, the office, there's a writer sitting, और उसके अगल-बगल 20 और जन बैठे होते हैं, और वो अपना ड्राफ्ट पढ़ता है कि ये है, ये बोलती है, वो बोलती है, और फिर होता है डिस्कशन. which can last easy for 3 hours. So that is
Sweet.
it is the amount of work they put into just the writing is what
Shows.
excites
Shows.
me the most. Yeah, and it shows. इसीलिए उनके pictures हैं और उनका permanent roommates है और इसी वजह से उनका अभी girls hostel है क्योंकि writing पे बहुत focus दिया जाता है, which I love the most about TVF.
Okay, guys, let's have fun. Last question. Who would you date amongst all the
Yeah,
principal characters in Girls Hostel? Would you date Joe, Shrishti, in real life?
absolutely. What a hottie.
Yeah,
What
I
a
want
hottie.
reasons. I want reasons. Her reason can be as blatant as shallow as what a hottie.
Shallow यार, बाइक चलाती है, इतनी हॉट है और मारती है, और क्या चाहिए?
Ahsaas, who would you date from the show? I mean, which character?
I would go on a double date with Zahira and Joe.
Why? Reason.
I want to be that player who goes out on like just double dates. Zahira, because she's extremely beautiful and she's this really poised, charming woman. So that would be one reason. And Joe, because she's so cool. Like both of them are worlds apart. So I would like to have the best of both worlds, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's it.
Parul.
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
Reason?
Reason, because she's such a cool person. She's such a cool person. And I remember when we had the first table read, I was like, listen, Joe और Zahira का झगड़ा इसलिए होता है because they've dated each other. This was our backstory in our head, जो कभी translate नहीं हुई. But in the show, there's one chick, this Momo says, अरे तुम दोनों का तो scene था ना? So they tried to keep that because we played it like that. But yeah, Joe.
Girls, you're smart, you're sexy, and you're damn good actors, all of you. Such a pleasure, Srishti, Parul, and Ahsaas, to talk to you. And thank you for Girls Hostel 2.0. I hope there are many more point ohs, 3 and 4 and 5. I just loved it. And I'll tell you what, you know, I ran through the series because I had to study for this interview, but you made me want to go back and watch one, which is saying a lot, and I'm going to do that. You know, so
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to dig
Thank
my
you
teeth
so much.
into that. Cheers. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.